I had an idea for how we could do elections. I'm going to share it with you.
Oh, what's the idea?
I think it's a good idea. Folks should just do a survey
Uh-huh.
of all their values. They don't vote for people. They share all their values
Right.
and then they turn them in. And then whoever aligns with those values gets the vote.
Right.
Phil for you. And then we don't even run people anymore. This cult of personality thing is not working for us.
Right. Um, I think it's a lovely idea, Phil. I just hope no one starts using lots of money to drive
Oh,
the issues that are chosen or what people should think about them, because I'm afraid that the issues that will get voted for are those that run along with the money interests.
well, that's
But
what
if we
we're
can keep
getting.
that out of your system, then I'll be happy.
Oh, well, I'm gonna have to think about this one. I imagine it's difficult to do this
Well,
experiment.
let me take it back to where we started.
Yeah.
What you're looking for is a neutral way of deciding, how government should work.
Hmm.
How do you think I feel about that?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no way to do that.
I think, as Churchill said, democracy is the worst of is the best of all the available bad options, to paraphrase. Um, there's He thought that democracy was heavily flawed. People have recognized that for thousands of years. In in um, in ancient Greece, Plato recognized that democracy was flawed. Why? Because it was susceptible to a demagogue, a powerful speaker who could persuade people to align with them. Um,
That sounds
Things have not
familiar.
changed. I know things have
Yeah.
not changed so dramatically, right?
I mean,
Um,
he's been our current president has been a long time in the making. I was raised with Donald Trump in my life in some way, shape, or form. I'm 47 years old now, and he's been in my life since I was what, 16 or 17, maybe
right.
20, whether it was on a building or a TV show, or he was always in media one way, shape, or form. It's difficult.
He's someone with a platform who is a powerful speaker, a
Yeah,
powerful
powerful speaker.
demagogue, powerful
Yeah,
orator. Um,
and a
and
unique orator
absolutely
in the history of political speech. I think unique.
right. And anything but neutral.
That's for sure.
He's one of the most polarizing figures in uh, American political history.
Do you think, or do you think he's just the current one? Because isn't presidential elections, isn't it always polarizing, just the act of choosing one party or the other? I mean,
Well,
isn't
this
it?
takes us into a whole different discussion.
Yeah.
Um, so the answer is yes, there's always polarization, but it used to be the case that, let's say we just look at senators, their votes were more often um, tied to regional interests
Ah,
rather than party interests,
I
and
see.
more generally, uh, people's who claim to be Democrats and people who claim to be Republicans in the country um, would have less uniform agreement with other people in the same party
Uh-huh.
than they do now. So there's
They would
been
look at their constituency for policy.
right. The other issue is that um, if you look at measures of so the word polarization suggests it's just coming apart in both directions.
Uh-huh.
There is such a thing as extremism, where you've got a bunch of people here and then there's a radical change. So that's what happened in the 1920s in Italy and the late 20s and 30s in Germany.
A small group of people radically changed from the masses and were able to capture.
Absolutely. So people become radicalized in some way, and then they become part of a movement that can become the new normal, can become the mainstream. And I'm just commenting here that the word polarization is not an apt description for
Right,
that process.
right.
Um, it's what's sometimes called asymmetric polarization. Polarization, again, to come back to where we started, suggests there's a neutral point in between.
And there we are,
And we can
neutrality.
play both sidesism and say, oh, these people and these people disagree. And reality is somewhere in between. But if what actually happens is one group moves to a completely different space, then playing both sides suggests that normal is up here.
Yeah, they've changed the average. They've changed the midpoint.
Right. And so we can question whether that's reasonable or not.
Hmm.
It's certainly, whether it's reasonable or not, uh, to talk about both sides this way. There's nothing neutral about the middle.
Yeah.
It just happens to be wherever the middle is.